All right, good morning, everybody. Um, Once again, thanks for joining us. I have a different setup today, so it might look a little bit different, but once again, thank you for joining us on this journey. And this is the 21 journey to understanding our inner self, materialize happiness. And today is day 4 of season 4 of Lit in English. And our goal is to share these amazing knowledge and spread it all around the world to every corner, because with these amazing knowledge, we will be able to accomplish what we truly want in life. And I am very grateful to have you joining me on this journey. So just a quick recap before we are moving on to today's topic. Yesterday we revisit the principle of light, and we also dive a little bit deeper into the 7 holistic wealth. So just a quick recap on the principle of light first. What the principle of light said is, imagine a dark room, and we want to get the darkness outside of the room, and there are only 2 options. One is to try to get the darkness outside of the room, and the second is bring light inside of the room. And the obvious choice is turn on the switch and turn the dark room into a lit room. And that is also an action of being proactive rather than reactive. And we also learned that if we were to simplify our problem in life, then we realize that there are only 4 categories that we really need to work on. And those are inner self, health, relationship, and finance. And yesterday we went over the 7 holistic life in detail. And through the 7 holistic life, we will be able to maintain and be proactive with our inner self, our health, our relationship, and our finance. And through the 7 holistic wealth, which are wisdom, presence, nobility, virtue, capability, physique, and material, we were able to understand the 2 worlds that we live in, the immaterial world and the material world. And that demonstrated greatly thanks to the story of a Rolex watch, of how it started with a simple watch brand, but through a very great campaign, it was able to become a symbol of success. All right, so if you missed our first 3 days, I highly recommend to going back to listen to those 3 in our YouTube channel, because we do have some great content there, and we went over these principles in detail. All right, so today we are moving on to the second principle, and I would like to invite you to bring out a piece of paper and draw alongside with me. Okay, that is one of the greatest way to learn by observing, seeing, and then drawing along. Therefore, here should have a piece of paper like this. So as you can see, the principle of light is very, very important. If you can just understand the principle of light and apply it, you will already taken control back of your life. And it's simple to to achieve the your dream goal. So the second principle is as important. And let's write number 2 in the bottom left corner. And I invite you to write the circle of knowledge. Okay. Again, this is the second principle, and it is as important as the first one. And every time when I think about the circle of knowledge, it remind me of a story in like when I spend time with my friend, sometime the question comes up, and I'm sure you might have a similar experience. My friends would ask me, if you were to be a superhero, if you have like a superpower, who would you be? And I didn't even have to think about it, because what I always wanted to be, I want to have the knowledge of the entire world. I don't know why, but I was born very, very curious. I always asking question like, why does the sun rise from the east? Why is there day and night? Why there this, there is that? I always curious, and I always wanted to learn. And I thought to myself that it would be great if I had that superpower, you know? And I always thought that it must be something very, very extreme to understand the knowledge of the world, until I learned about the circle of knowledge, and everything is simpler. And maybe today you will have the same realization. So let's start out with the word know. And know. And of course, this is the circle of knowledge principle. So let's put a circle or an eclipse right around the word know. Okay, if you can just help me imagine that this circle here, this is your knowledge, everything that you know. For example, I am writing down right now. I know that I can write. I am talking to you through Zoom, and I am hosting the Zoom call. So I know that I can host Zoom. Okay, so this is the representation in the simplest way of the knowledge that you know. Now, right above the word known, I want you to write the word know. And then forget. And then, of course, we're going to put a circle around it. Okay, so this circle here is the representation of the knowledge that you have known, but somehow you forget. And this is extremely important because if we can just understand this, we will understand how we learn, how we store information. And this take me back to 2009 when I was in college and I took a calculus class. And during that time, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start it really, really hard to see if I can be a straight A student. And I did. I have almost perfect score for that calculus class. I was very, very good at it. Fast forward 2 or 3 years after that, my best friend, his name is John. He knew that I was pretty good at math, so he came and he asked me to help him with his calculus class. And that was when I got really, really scared because I didn't remember anything. But I couldn't say no, so I said yes. I will help you out. You know, I did pretty good when I was taking that class. So what I did is I went on my computer and I did some Google search on everything I need to know about that calculus class. And it took me only 3 days to learn everything. And the reason that I know that I have learned everything from that class is because I took a test to see like how well I understand calculus, and I was able to get like perfect score on that test. The point that I am making is the knowledge that you have forgotten, you can learn it back very, very quickly instead of study calculus for the entire years, because there was like pre-calculus and then calculus. It took me in a matter of days to relearn what I have already know about calculus. So if you can just help me understand the concept of knowing something already, and it is simple to relearn it. This is very, very powerful, even though the way that I am explaining it is very simple. And I'm going to tell you why this is extremely important as well. Okay, I don't know about others, but I'm very comfortable to tell you this. So I major in philosophy, and one of the philosopher, his name is Plato. Great, great philosophers. He was, I think, one of the first Greek philosopher that was acknowledged by majority of the thinker community back then. And he says something very, very profound. He said that everything that we are learning, they are not new. We only relearning it. We already know of. those information, and I'm going to repeat it again, we are only relearning it. So what he's essentially saying is, you already know everything. Even you sitting here, listen to me, you are already understanding these. It's just you are relearning it. So if you can just accepting that, number one, it is very easy to relearn what you has forgotten. And number two, you have already know everything. And if you can just follow those two steps, instead of taking a whole years or many years to learn something, you can learn it instantly. You can learn it in a matter of days. And that is very, very powerful. And if you don't believe me, let me prove it to you. Okay. Nowadays, we have technology like YouTube. And think about how fast it is for you to learn how to cook, for example. Isn't it simple to just go on YouTube and looking at the ingredient, the way that the YouTuber show you how to cook? Or if you like to do gardening, isn't it very simple to learn very quickly how to do gardening? Even my mom can do it. She is like 60 years old, but she's still very good with a computer. She loved YouTube. She loved gardening. And within the matter of weeks, she was able to master how to do gardening very efficiently. Usually that would take years, even hundreds of years for a person in the past to learn it, but she was able to learn it through YouTube very quickly. So some may argue that she would just learn it from YouTube, but let me go back to the very, very core of it. Okay, if you can just accept that it is very simple to learn what you have forgotten, and you have already know the information. First of all, it makes a lot of sense that you can learn very quickly. Second of all, it will make it very simple for you to acquire the knowledge that you already know. Extremely, extremely important. And you will see how important it is when we're moving on to the next circle of knowledge, that is know that you don't know. Okay. So the circle of knowledge, know, don't know, is the knowledge that something we just know that we don't know. For example, I don't know how to fly an airplane, and I am very conscious of that. And if I can be very conscious that I don't know how to fly an airplane, if I can just admit that to myself, then I will be able to learn how to fly an airplane. So there are many things that we don't know, and if we can admit to it, then we can learn it. And this is a contradictory of what I just said earlier about you have already know everything. It's just you has forgotten. But admitting that we don't know it yet, or we are not aware of it yet, is the first step to learn about it, right? because the second that you realize you don't know, and then you follow the belief that I mentioned earlier, that you already know everything, it's just you forgot about it. So you can first admit that, oh, you don't know about it initially, and then you make the transition that, oh, it's not that I don't know it, it's just I forget about it. Let me try to remember it. Then you will learn it very, very, very quickly. And I know that to be true. I know that to be a fact. And this is the power of the circle of knowledge that I am diving in very, very deep today. And if you kind of like puzzling about this, don't worry, just give it some time, because understanding this will help your learning way, way faster in the near future, instead of spending decades or even century on this. Just understand this and the knowledge will come to you. So there's another circle of knowledge that I would like to go over, because it will complete the picture. So right on top of the know and don't know, I want you to also write down the word don't know, don't know. And thanks to our teacher, our coach, and our mentor, we learned that there are things that we simply don't know, that we don't know. And if I were to give an example of the information that I don't know, then I cannot give you, because I don't know about it. I don't know that I don't know. So why is it even here to begin with? Why do we have to acknowledge this? Why do we have to understand it? And again, this is extremely, extremely important, even though we only write a few words down here, but think about this, okay? If you can admit to yourself that there are things out there that you don't know, that is the equivalent of you allowing yourself to learn something new, something that you're not aware of it yet. But if you are closed-minded and decided that you have know everything already, then that is the equivalence of closing the door to knowledge, because you already know already, which means that you're not open to new idea, to new information. So even when the information come to you, you wouldn't be able to recognize it. So by admitting to ourselves that we don't know, we open ourselves to many new possibilities. This is extremely, extremely important. And let me repeat this again, because I know that this will literally change your life as it has changed mine. Okay. If we can admit to ourselves that we don't know, we open ourselves to possibility. We open ourselves to opportunity. And this is part of the reason why it is so important to be humble. And I have seen this so many times. When people open themselves to opportunity, they see more opportunity. For example, there are people who have believed that they simply don't know how to operate a business, or they have a limiting belief that they couldn't make money. So unconsciously, they decided that it was impossible for them to start a business. It was impossible for them to receive wealth from the universe. So they didn't admit that there are things that they don't know, and they closed that opportunity. And they live the rest of their life without having that opportunity. On the other hand, when we have people who realize that there are things that they don't know, like Jeff Bezos, for example, like Elon Musk, for example, they was open-minded, and that is how Jeff Bezos created Amazon. Because at his time, in 1994, 1995, before he created Amazon in 1996, nobody know about the possibility of Amazon, which is one of the biggest company, and they dominated the industry of online shopping, of same day delivery services. But because Jeff Bezos was open to the idea, he admit that he don't know. And when the idea come to him, it was easy for him to accept it. And he turned what he did not know, and he become aware of it. He realized that he didn't know about Amazon. And then he comes to a realization that, oh, you know what? Maybe I have this idea all this entire time. That idea exists. The idea of Amazon and same day delivery exists. Maybe I just forgot about that knowledge. And he turned what he did not know into what he had known, and he pursued it, even though nobody believed in him at first. And thanks to that, he was able to build Amazon to the $1 trillion company it is today. So when you can just simply admit to yourself that you don't know, you are opening up yourself to potential, to possibility. It's very, very, very powerful. All right. So I would like to highlight the word no. Forget here. Very important. So I'm going to repeat again about Plato. He said that everything that we are learning, they are not new. We have already know it, and we are just relearning it. And understanding the circle of knowledge, we realize that we are all equal because our circle of knowledge are the same. We all have our circle of knowledge of known. We all have our circle of knowledge of know and forget. We all have the circle of knowledge of know, don't know. And we all have the circle of knowledge of don't know. And let me tell you this right now too. You are very special. You are very powerful. Because in my entire life, I always thought that I was not smart, because I was able to see that everybody else is smarter than me, and I thought I was stupid. But thanks to that, I always have the attitude that I don't know, and I always have the attitude that there are so much to learn out there, and thanks to that attitude, I was able to meet many great people and learn from them. And there is a very cool quote. They say that the wisest man is the man that admit he does not know anything at all. And that is very, very wise, because you know what reality is. Um, we don't really know anything. The universe is vast, but at the same time, the fact that we are existing right here, right now, is mean that our father, our parent and grandparent and our ancestor, they have to live through many wars, and they are survivor, they are the champion. And thanks to that, we are here today. So our very existence is something very special. And we can argue that we has been here this entire time. We've been here since the beginning of time. And our parent, our ancestor has been passing down our DNA and our information, and we have that. So there are information that we have already know, we simply forget. And each of us is very, very special. And I realized this because of the story of Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan is a Mongolian leader, and he conquered almost the entire world very quickly. He dominated everywhere he went to. He put fear in people. And that was only like hundreds of years ago. And this is so crazy. And I didn't know how ridiculous it was until I get to travel the US from the East Coast to the West Coast. It was only like 3,000 to 4,000 miles. The way that the Mongol conquered the world was so quickly. It was in the matter of months, and they didn't have car. They had to ride horse. The reason I'm bringing up this story is because Genghis Khan was just a normal person, an average man. He was a nobody. But the difference between Genghis Khan and his soldier, or just an average person during his time, is that one day, or one night rather, Genghis Khan had a dream. And in his dream, he saw God. And Genghis Khan believed that Genghis Khan received a message that he needed to conquer the world. And he woke up believing that that is his mission. It is the word from God, the creator, to him, that he needed to do this. It is his mission to conquer the world. And that was exactly what he did. Okay. And that is crazy. That is so crazy. Imagine just woke up one day and decide that you're going to conquer the world, and actually did it. And that's the story of Genghis Khan. Similarly, Caesar, another great conqueror, he conquered the entire known world during his time, which is the European and west of Asia, because of a simple belief. And what I'm telling you right now is that you are as powerful, you are as beautiful as some of the greatest mind out there, if you can just allow yourself to be. And the principle of the circle of knowledge allowing us to do that. And this is also the reason why we share the sixth barrier at our day one, because you can break through the barrier, the limiting belief. If you remember, the barrier number one, if you can just break through that limiting belief, and if you can break through barrier number 6, lack of vision, and you apply that to our principle number 2, the circle of knowledge, maybe you will be able to have the knowledge of the world in the near future. I know it's not crazy, but that is what possible, everyone. But that's just a little bit deep. I'm going to show you a more simpler and more practical way of applying the circle of knowledge. And this is pretty cool. I like this a lot. And you know how like sometimes is when we talk to people, it's kind of hard to get them to understand what you are talking about. For example, when I was in college, it was so boring. I thought the professor was so boring, and I just couldn't focus on learning. Using the circle of knowledge, we will know how to communicate with other people more effectively. So I would like to invite you to write another circle up here. But instead of writing no and no, I'm going to change the word a little bit so that we can have a simpler way to look at it. So I would like to call the knowledge that you know, let's call it the known, which means the knowledge that we have already know. And the knowledge that we know but we forget, let's call it the forgotten or forgotten. And the knowledge that we know we do not know, let's call it the unknown. And then the knowledge that we admitted to ourselves that we don't know, we don't even aware of it. And I like this a lot. Let's call this unconsciousness. And this is very, very, very beautiful. And as many of our listener has already know, these are the knowledge that I have learned in Vietnamese, and I simply translate it to English. But during the process of me translate it to English, I understand it better and deeper, as if these knowledge are alive. And through different way of interpreting the knowledge, for some reason, I feel like I understand it better. And for the circle of knowledge, I feel like the English word can describe it best. Because you know what? For the circle of knowledge of the knowledge that you know, it is the know. You already know it. It's beautifully put. And then the knowledge that you know you forget, it is the forgotten. And the forgotten means that you can remember it. And then the knowledge that you know you don't know, it is the unknown. But by admitting that it is the unknown, you are already admitting to yourself that those knowledge can be known. And then beautifully, the thing that you don't know, you don't even aware of it. It is your unconsciousness. What a beautiful word, because you know what? The second that you admit it to yourself that it is reside in your unconsciousness, that means that you can shift your unconsciousness to your consciousness. That means the knowledge that you don't know, you can transform it, you can shift it to the knowledge that you know. It is that simple. It can happen instantaneously. That's how Newton can come up with the law of gravity. That was how Jeff Bezos had a realization of Amazon. And that is how Elon Musk have his passion of electric car, of space exploration. Because it might only last for like a couple of seconds. In the case of Elon Musk, I believe that this is happening all the time. And when I say this happened all the time, I meant that the shift of the unconscious mind transitioning to conscious, it is very, very, very special. And Einstein, arguably the smartest man ever lived, even him struggle with shifting this unconsciousness to conscious, shifting what he don't know to the know. And I heard of the story of a Times article on the day that Albert Einstein passed away. The title said that one of the greatest scientists ever lived has passed away, and he left unfinished work. And what Einstein was working on is an equation, of formula to understand the mind of the God. He was studying parallel universe. He couldn't quite prove it, but he know it is there. And what he was working on, if figuratively, what we are having on this piece of paper here. He wanted to shift the unconsciousness to the consciousness. He wanted to have a formula to understand the universe itself. He knew that it is out there. He couldn't prove it. And many of the great minds of the world is working on it right now. And I know of this because I also myself interested in those topics. But lucky for us, we have this formula, and we are open-minded, and we know what is possible. But let's take a step back to to apply the circle of knowledge in a simpler way. I got a little carried away, okay? But because it is so important, I feel like I have to share this, and let me repeat the important part before we go to the simpler application. All right, because I think this is extremely important. I want you to agreeing or admitting that we have already know all information. We simply forget. Just like the philosopher Plato put it, everything that we are learning, they are not new. We are only relearning it. Because once you admit it to that, you can learn it very, very quickly. All right, and now a simpler application of the circle of knowledge, which is very, very, very useful, is the ability to communicate with others. All right, and let me ask you this question. If you were to talk to others people, like what I am doing right now, which part of the knowledge would you use? Do you use the known, or do you use the know, forget, or no, don't know, or don't know? I'm going to answer that for you too. We all have to use the circle of knowledge of what we know in order to talk to others. And this reinforcing my idea that the information that I am providing you today, yes, it might sound crazy and big, but those are within my circle of knowledge of known as well. But you see, all of us, we have 4 circles of knowledge. We have the known, the forgotten, the unknown, and the unconsciousness. And even though looking from the outside in, they are very similar, but they are very different, because when I tell you about the information that I know, and I was trying to communicate it to you, there are 4 possibilities, because the information that I have already know, you might have already know about that information, which is great because we both agree on the same thing. But at the same time, if I wanted to tell you something new and you have already know it, then it will be very boring. And that's what happened to me in college, because when I go to school, because I love to read back then, so when I go to school, I felt like I have already known what the professor are teaching. It was extremely important. And even teacher in high school or middle school, they might not aware of this, but their student are so bored of their teaching, and they don't realize that maybe the student has already know what they are teaching. A second possibility is that when I communicate to others, the information might hit the forgotten circle of knowledge. So it might be something that you have known in the past, but you forgot about it. But because I mentioned it to you, you realize that you remember. And this is what Plato trying to do, because Plato said that everything that we had known, we simply forgotten. So when we learn, it's not about learning something new, it's about relearning it. So the act that sharing what you know and hitting the forgotten of other, that is extremely important, because you help them remember what they learn. And it's easier to connect with people if we can help reminding them of what they might have forgotten. And this is one of the key in teaching, in sharing knowledge, hitting the forgotten. And at the same time, when we communicate, there's also a possibility that we will hit the unknown. So when we share information and it hit the unknown, people will realize that it is something that they do not know, and they can work from the unknown to the forgotten and to the known, and they can receive that knowledge. Now, the worst possible outcome is not bad, but just the worst out of the 4 is hitting the don't know, the unconsciousness. Because if you tell people something that they don't know, then they don't know what you are talking about. All right. They get confused. And that is how you know that you're saying something that they simply don't know, that they don't know. So there's the dilemma here. Everything, if we were to tell them what they already know, they will get bored of it. If we tell them what they have forgotten, then they might think that, oh, I have know this already. But if you tell them things that they don't know, then they realize, oh, it's information then that they don't know, and they might not feel good about it because they don't want to look like they don't know anything. But if you say things that they don't know, and they will get confused. So this is the reason why it is quite challenging to communicate with other people. So if we really cared about them, and if we really want to communicate with them, we have to have patience. We have to willing to listen to others. The key word is the willingness to listen to others. And trust me, if you can just do that, you will be able to not only maintaining your relationship, but you will be able to improve your relationship. You will be able to build it up. In life, a lot of time we're just not willing to listen, and we just don't understand others. And most of the time, people have good intention. If we can be if we can have that loving kindness and the willingness to listen, not only will we be able to build relationship, we will also able to acquire knowledge and many amazing things. So understanding the circle of knowledge, the way we will be able to share knowledge, the requirement that we have to be willing to listen both sides, A and B, had to be willing to listen to the other. Just like what we are doing right here, right now, we are willing to have this conversation. And thank you very much for joining me on this journey, because if I was just to talk to myself, then that wouldn't be very effective. And you see, because we have the willingness to go on this journey together, to learn from each other. We are sharing the information from what we know, the know. What we are doing is we traveling from the know, and we going around what we know. And when we're comfortable enough, we're gonna try to go out a little bit to the forgotten. And then if we still don't get it, we're gonna go back and then go out again to the forgotten. And then we transform the forgotten to the know. And that is when you learn new information, or you remember new information. Similarly, when we got that information, we travel out a little bit further to the unknown. And if we still don't get what we wanted, we try again, going out and going back in, and we transform that area of unknown to the know. Similarly, this is how we ship our unconsciousness to our conscious. Same way. We start with the known, go out to the unconsciousness, bringing it back. And then if we still want to confirm it, we go on back out and bringing it right back to the known, enlarging the known. And I recently learned a term about this technique. Let's say what is known as the spiral of knowledge. So the spiral of knowledge is saying that the way that we can go deep into a topic, and this is what scientists and researchers use. They start to know, and then they go out a little bit, and then they come back. They get that information, and then they go out a little bit further, a little bit deeper, but they always remember to circle back to the know. And continuously, the more they do that, the more they understand the topic. And at the very core of it, that is how scientists come up with new idea. That is how we have the technology that we have today, because people are willing to go to the forgotten. People was willing to go to the unknown, and people willing to reach their unconsciousness, and they materialize their vision. Like Jeff Bezos, he reaches unconsciousness to build that connection, and he see the vision of Amazon, and he materialized Amazon. Elon Musk, the same things. He was able to see, he go to his unconscious mind, and he see that vision of Tesla, of SpaceX, and many other amazing projects. He materialize it. He make it a reality. And that is the key of the immaterialize all material and materialize all immaterial. The connection of the two worlds. The connection of the unconsciousness and the know, or the conscious. And this is the power of the circle of knowledge. And thank you so much for joining me today. We will continue this tomorrow, and I do have to run, so there's no music going to play. But I appreciate you taking the time to join us. And in this journey, I feel like I'm the one that learning the most. So thank you for supporting me and helping me understand this knowledge better as well. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.